Right now is a good time to discuss the relationship between thoughts, emotions, and our results. You guys know what that is? The dot is a stain on the page, and the circle is you. We're gonna draw another circle here, right? So this is you, this is your essence, right? This is the perfect you that was born into this world, enough, valuable, worthy, amazing. We're in the world and we start to experience, maybe someone talks to us with a tone of voice and we go, oh, I'm getting disapproved of. So we have parents, teachers, society, religion that start to shape us, and we start to form beliefs. So we have beliefs about the world, beliefs about other people, and most of all, beliefs about ourselves. Einstein says the most important decision you will make is whether the world is hostile or friendly. And so that's one of the first core beliefs that we form. And so we have our beliefs. We could also call these programs. Okay. And then we've got this next circle. Our beliefs and our programs then affect our thoughts. Okay. And then from there, our thoughts now affect our guesses?
Beliefs?
Nope.
Reality? Emotions?
Does affect our reality. Before that, it's our emotions. Our emotions, our feelings. So every emotion that we have is backed by a thought. We don't have emotions without there being some thought. There's always a thought that affects our emotions, because something can happen and two people can behave completely different ways to that, because it's based on their beliefs that affect their thoughts and then affect their emotions. Outside from here, our thoughts, our emotions then affect, what do you think they affect?
Actions or behavior.
There we go. Reading my mind.
I was just going to say reality, but.
Well, that's the next step. We've got our core beliefs, which then affect how we think about it affects how we view the world and the thoughts that we have in reaction to the world. And then we get emotions based on that, unless we've pushed down our emotions and we don't allow it, but they're still there. They're still there. They don't go anywhere. And then that affects how we behave. And that might be one of those behaviors or actions might be that we push it down, we close ourselves off, we don't let people in. It's like, I don't usually allow people to see that. That's not safe, right? And other people, they might do the opposite, where they blurt out and they're talking all the time because they're like, I'm not seen, I gotta be seen, and they never ever feel seen, even though they're like taking up more space than everyone else, because they have a core belief that they're not seen, that they're invisible, that they need to work to be seen. And so it always shows up no matter what. And so all of these things then affect our results. We could also call results our reality. And so in this way, when we look at this model, this is how we are responsible for our reality. You are responsible for your reality. And this is the blueprint for that. When we want to change our reality, what is it that most people do? Which level do they start at when they want to change their reality or change their results? What level do they start at?
I would say thoughts.
Action.
Let's say most people start with their actions.
Yeah. You've been trained now, you've been reprogrammed to go to thoughts, but most people they change their external circumstances. They change what's outside of themselves, which also is changing their actions. And that's just like moving and shifting things around. It can change things temporarily, but usually it doesn't have a long-lasting effect. Something similar will show up some other way, some other place, until we change the beliefs, which then affects the results. It may be hard for someone to hear that we are responsible for our reality. Right? There might be things in your life that you're like, why am I responsible for that? Why am I responsible for that person? That person did that to me. We're responsible for how we respond, though. We're responsible for the meaning that we make out of it. We're responsible for what we choose to do from there, the kinds of people that we allow into our lives, how we allow people to treat us, to name a few things. So we'll be continuing to go deeper into that over the course of this next 12 weeks. This is another foundational thing. So if everything is energy, emotions are also energy. Everything in our world of results is the result of energy being focused and directed towards something. If I believe, if I have a core belief around something, and almost all of these beliefs are subconscious, once they're no longer below the level of consciousness, then they don't control us like they did. We can go, oh, I see what's going on. I can direct. I can choose something different. I can choose to respond differently. Everything in our external world is a result of focused energy, focused intention. And so we can change that.
So, you know how they were saying most people change their actions. So actions are pretty simple to change. And then it's harder to think like, oh, I have to change my emotions and feelings, because sometimes you're like, how could I feel differently than this? But then even if you figure that out and you figure out how to change your thoughts, how do you change your beliefs on your own if they're subconscious?
That's when it's good to have a guide.
You gotta learn.
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was thinking, because I went to her. That's the only reason I know about it. And I'm like, I could have never done that. There's no way. I wouldn't even have known I had those beliefs.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Yeah.
it's so deep.
And I'm going to teach you some processing techniques that you can do it on your own. Now it's not as great as having a guide, but for things that come up in your life, you'll be able to process through it on your own by getting into a relaxed state, and then you become your own guide.
My experience is, how can I choose my beliefs and stand firm like the rock in the stream, and others go around me, so that I am not swaying like the leaf with everybody's thoughts. I know who I am, my values, my priorities, and I stay in alignment with that, and the other just goes around me.
I think conscious beliefs, it seems like that totally doable with conscious beliefs. But like, so for instance, if you have a belief that like, well, my opinions don't matter, but you don't even know you have that belief, you just know that you never speak up. So that's a belief that you would carry with you almost everywhere, and you wouldn't even know that you have it. You just know that you have that problem, you know? So that's like a really, you're not conscious of it, you know?
And can you see how someone could build a whole life around that belief?
Yeah, because I totally did. Yes.
When you became aware, you could choose differently.
Yeah, and so that's what I'm saying is like that awareness. I don't even know how I would have ever had this awareness. You know, you maybe have problems, but when they're so deep rooted and so subconscious, you're like, how do you change those beliefs if you don't even know they're there, you know?
Her experience of being this solid rock in the water that everything like flows around, that's the level of mastery that comes with doing this inner work. That you get to this point where you're coming from here. You're coming from your essence. You're coming from the truth of who you are and staying in that space, and you're immovable. There can be a storm going all around you, and you're still secure in who you are. It doesn't mean that you don't experience all kinds of different emotions, that you're secure in you and who you are. And you can be in this group of people or that group of people and not lose sight of the inner truth of you. In essence, that's the desired outcome of this 12 weeks, is to have an increased level of mastery because you know who you are. No matter what situation you find you're in, you know the truth of who you are. You're on a motorcycle and you're like, the truth is, I can surrender and I can trust. And I may not know this person that's driving the motorcycle, but that's not who I'm trusting. I'm trusting God. I'm trusting Source. I'm trusting me that is all of that. I'm trusting my essence and I'm surrendering to that. So an event happens and then we make meaning out of it. We make a story out of it. We are meaning making machines. That's why, what is it that you hear 3-year-olds saying over and over and over and over and over and over and over again?
No.
Why? Why? No, and also why? 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 Because we're creating meaning, right? This is the way the world works. An event happens. Name an event. Name something that can happen. Nothing too terrible or traumatic. The first event, we go to a swimming hole and we get pushed in the water. If that's me, what meaning might I make out of that?
People are assholes.
People are assholes. And let's say I'm a 3-year-old. You think I might build a life based on that?
You might never want to go near the water again.
Yeah, you can't trust anybody.
Yeah. So all kinds of different negative beliefs though. So could I also come up with another meaning from getting pushed in the water?
Yeah, oh, maybe it was an accident. I don't think he meant anything by it. I'm okay. You know.
Yeah.
Maybe you learn at that point that you actually can swim and that like I'm totally capable of anything that happens.
Yeah.
Maybe my mom scoops me up and I don't even notice and it seems fun. And maybe I become a risk taker and I like extreme sports. So you see how there's a fact, an event, and we create meaning. The meaning would be beliefs that we form, programs, imprints, and then we operate from that. It's also called imprints or blueprints. And when we wake up, we realize that we've been functioning from this blueprint. And then we can change that blueprint and expand it. We can consciously choose to change it. Unless we like it like that, we can deconstruct, deprogram, and reprogram.
Yeah.
The second example, we go to church and we see Jesus on the cross. What meaning might we make of that?
A man got hurt. Like
Man
if you
got
don't know
hurt.
who this is, you're just like, oh my gosh, that looks terrible. Like what's going on?
Yeah, and what belief might we form from that?
Weird things happen at church.
Weird things happen at church.
God is scary, that we need to fear God.
Yeah.
Because I don't want that to happen to me, you know.
Yeah.
Or just that maybe that's weird. I don't want anything to do with that.
Yeah.
Maybe we think, is that going to happen to me? What other meaning might we give to that that's maybe not negative?
You might just feel like, oh my gosh, this man loved me so much that he died for me. Like, wow.
Yeah.
Might promote a feeling of safety.
Or I want to be like him. I want to sacrifice myself to help people too.
Yeah. And if I don't sacrifice myself, then that might mean I'm
Bad.
bad.
Yeah, guilty. Yeah. Yeah.
So we can see all of these different meanings that we could make from a simple, uncharged event. Last one, new to school, and a person introduces themselves to us.
What a weirdo, what a freak. Or what a nice person, you know. And then you can be best friends forever, you know.
Or just like, oh, that's what you do. Oh, okay. Like, so I introduce myself to people. I tell people my name.
Like this is the protocol of what I'm supposed to
Yeah.
do.
So this is how it works. Hello.
Or school isn't as scary as I thought it was going to be. People are nice. I'm going to have new friends.
Or it could seem scary. On the flip side, it could feel scary. I don't know this person. And they're like all in my business.
I feel like it kind of pertains to what you said in the first class session. You have a choice between excited or nervous. Like which way on the scale are you gonna pick?
Yeah.
I think what keeps coming up for me is like how much our core beliefs are impacted by the core beliefs of people around us.
Mm-hmm.
So like, you saying, oh, you could choose this or this, but really I think in my life it didn't feel like, you really had a choice because so much meaning was already made of everything that happened already. In many ways, people, telling you what to think about things, especially, church and news and everything.
Yeah.
So absolutely. Our homes that we grew up in, that's where we're learning how to view the world. Like if our mom viewed the world this way, we might view it this way too. And the majority of who we are now was formed before we were 7 years old.
Right.
We formed this view of the world, our beliefs before the age of 7.
Or before we even had really conscious thoughts about the things that were happening to us. I think like it just sort of matriculates into our being, what the people around us, what meaning they make.
Absolutely, because when we're young, we're all subconscious mind. Like everything is just like, yeah. And it's when we get older, then we can more intentionally make choice. But what we don't realize is most people are operating from their programming. The programs, the meaning that they made, right, because of events, which were affected by the people around them, affected by their parents, their teachers, their pastors.
Siblings.
Yeah. Can you imagine taking this course when you're 7 years old, Where would we be now?
Even though I said earlier, like if we're looking at changing things out there, it doesn't make a lasting change. Sometimes it can if we get out of the environment. If we go to something completely new where we're completely unfamiliar, that's a way that we can start seeing some of those unconscious programs coming up, like you talked about. Everything's unfamiliar, so we're forced to change the way that we interact with the world. So going to different cultures is another great way to open our minds and expand who it is that we think that we are and bust through those limitations. The way I look at the world is this is like a video game. And if anyone has seen video games that they make nowadays, they are extremely realistic. Like if you got Zelda or something like that, there's this whole gorgeous world and you wander all around this world. Except the way that they work is you just get dropped in this world and you don't know anything about this world. Unless you've done cheat sheets beforehand, looked at videos, you know nothing about this world. You don't know the rules of this world. You don't know the goal of this game. You're just in this world and you're figuring it out as you go along. And you are this video game player. And then you go, you explore, you meet people, you learn things, and then you're slowly figuring out, oh, this is what this world is. This is the way it works. These are the rules. And we can bend the rules and we can break the rules sometimes. And sometimes there's Easter eggs and sometimes there's little cheats where we can get in and hack the system. I see life as operating very much like a video game. In physics, it's called simulation theory. Many physicists think that that is the the nature of our universe, of our reality. Many people think we are actually in a simulation, that we are these avatars inside a computer simulation. And bam, that's the universe. That's how we explain our existence. But that doesn't explain the existence of our avatar. Right? Well, who's that then? Are we just video games within a video game within a video game? Are we dimensions within a dimension within a dimension within a dimension? So I'm not saying that we are in a video game. What I am saying is I believe that the rules of this reality operate much like a video game. We can bend and break the rules of the game, just like in the movie The Matrix, with our own thoughts, with our own consciousness. And by syncing up with universal consciousness, which could be called God, which could be called our higher self or our highest self.